We are nearing the end of this epic series.
I love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me.
Hello everybody and welcome back to Pitch This here on the MrEliMac channel. I'm your host MrEliMac, and today I'm going to be continuing with the What If the Arrowverse Was Marvel, and we are on part 8 of 10. We are nearing the end of this grand series, and because we are nearing the end, at this point we are basically done with the crossovers until the next one that is inspired off the Flash, but that's in next week's episode. And we're losing a show in Arrow, and next week we're going to be losing 2 more shows. So we are really getting to the end of the Arrowverse, really, in all this time. But I'm going to be continuing to try to give you my very best with all these pitches. I'm going to try not to slip out on any of the others. But before I actually get into the ideas, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. That way you can be up to date with all the videos I have here on the channel. Also hit the notification bell. That way you can be notified whenever a new video like this comes your way. With all that out of the way, let's get into the pitches, because the first one is for the Flash Season 7 analog, and we all know at this point it is Iron Man Season 7, and in the main cast we're going to see the return of Iron Man, Pepper Potts, Bethany Cabe, Rhodey Rhodes, War Machine, who will be leaving this season because around this time, this was when Cisco Ramon left the show, and War Machine is the person who I've really looked at as sort of the Cisco Ramon analog, so he will be leaving this season. Rumiko Fujikawa will be returning. Angelica Jones has been promoted from recurring character to main cast member because she's sort of the Allegra Garcia character, and Bill Foster is being added to the main cast. I didn't mention him last time because Chester P. Runk really wasn't listed as a major recurring member, even though I think he was, but I don't remember if he was 100%. But Bill Foster is sort of my Chester P. Runk analog in this idea, so Bill Foster is in this position. Maya Hansen will be listed as a main cast member for at least the first 3 episodes, because with how it was in the actual way, they couldn't really finish the Mirror Monarch and Eva McCulloch storyline in time before COVID hit, so I'm continuing with that because I want to stay a little bit in reality. So Maya Hansen we will be completing the Extremis story arc in this season, the very beginning of this season, and then we'll be done with Maya Hansen. Also, Edwin Jarvis is returning, but he will be leaving this season because I've always looked at him as sort of my Harrison Wells analog, or at least whenever Tom Cavanaugh would pop up and be a supporting character, he was always that character for me. So he will be leaving in this season of the show. And then finally, Happy Hogan will be returning. Again, he's been sort of my Joe West analog and sort of the character that's connected to all of them. And so with that, I am to the supporting cast, Susie Endo, aka Cybermancer, who will be a major recurring character, but she will also be leaving because her and Rhodey have really been in the romance throughout this entire time, and her and Rhodey will be leaving. And now we're getting into characters that are connected to the major storylines. For example, Monica Chang will be a recurring character. She's sort of who I'm looking at as the Daisy Corber analog, who is someone that works for... Daisy Corber was someone that worked for the Central City Police Department, and so I wanted her to sort of be connected to this because I'm having S.H.I.E.L.D. be more of a position in this season, because S.H.I.E.L.D. was a major thing in Captain America and the Captain America show, but now S.H.I.E.L.D. is sort of directionless. But because I didn't want to use a lot of the characters that we've already seen in the Captain, who are very much the Captain characters, I'm deciding to introduce more characters like Monica Chang, who will sort of be a S.H.I.E.L.D.-esque character. And now we move on to sort of the person who will be serving as the main antagonist of this first major arc, which is based off of, hold on, have it pulled up here. It is based off of the time in the Flash that is called God Complex, because that's how they separate it all. Like, they separated the graphic novels and they gave them names. So this one was called God Complex, and this one is being inspired. So this is where we get into the next one, and it will be inspired by the Armor Wars storyline. And so the main antagonist is Justin Hammer, with major characters that are serving as antagonistic forces, such as Titanium Man, Spy Master, and Firepower. These are characters that will be in the Armor War storyline as sort of major antagonists to Iron Man. Justin Hammer's again serving as the lead antagonist, Spy Master being the one to steal the plans and steal all this, and working with Justin Hammer to get the plans out to Titanium Man, and sort of the main physical antagonist. And I know, like, Justin Hammer is there as our main antagonist, but I really wanted to separate him from the main physical antagonist, and the main physical antagonist will be Titanium Man. Titanium Man would be the person that's sort of fighting Iron Man the most during the Armor War section, and sort of is serving as the main muscle behind Justin Hammer. Spy Master is again mainly infiltrating, using all the back doors and like spying on Iron Man, getting the plans. Firepower is someone that's really working on his own, whereas Titanium Man and Justin Hammer are really working together, and ultimately they would get the plans. They would find a way to put Titanium Man, Spy Master, and Firepower in jail. However, I would have Justin Hammer getting away, because no one would be able to pin all this stuff on Justin Hammer. So Justin Hammer would be able to get away with all of his nefarious means, and he would continue on. He may be a future antagonist. Who knows? I don't want to reveal all of the eggs in my basket. And so now we get to other characters who would be appearing sporadically throughout. One being Daisy Johnson, aka Quake, again being someone from S.H.I.E.L.D. that is sort of not really 100% sure where Tony Stark lies, but again, someone that is willing to work with him. Another character that would sort of serve as a Bethany Cabe love interest, and sort of serve as a character that is on the doesn't know really which side of the law he wants to be on, and that would be Jake O, aka Eagle Star. And he is someone that also works for S.H.I.E.L.D., but at the same time, he is someone that has been on the outs with S.H.I.E.L.D. So he's on that little, is he on our side? Is he not on our side? But he's mainly with Bethany Cabe love interest. And that was something I really wanted to do. I really wanted to try to introduce characters that we haven't seen yet. Hence why you don't hear me really bringing in Wonder Man or Hawkeye back into the show, because I really want to do what Flash did, which was just introduce new characters and just have them be more prominent roles and be like, hey, look at this vast thing of characters we have. And that's what I wanted to do here. And then some of the final sort of major characters that we have, or recurring characters, are Arno Stark, Silver Centurion, will be returning. You know, the son of Tony and Pepper, he is returning, and he is sort of like how XS Nora came in near the end because there was a bigger threat, like the Godspeed imperative. I do have Godspeed. I do have the main antagonist who is serving as my Godspeed analog in this, and I want to save. I'm getting ready to introduce him. But then we also have the character, like a daughter character, because that's what I wanted to do, and that is Morgan Stark, who is also wearing her own armor, and she's called Brass. And in the comics, there is a male version of Morgan Stark. In fact, the version that we get in Endgame isn't really the main Morgan Stark. She is more of an adaptation of this male version of Morgan Stark, and I'm just doing the same thing as well. And in the comics, I think there was an alternate version of Morgan Stark that wore an armor and called himself Brass. And so I'm just doing that, but instead of making Morgan an antagonistic character, is a heroic character with Silver Centurion. And I thought it was just nice because we have Iron Man, Silver Centurion, and now Brass. And those are sort of the heroes of the future, the children of Tony and Pepper Potts. and they're having to work together against this massive future threat, this Godspeed-esque character who we all actually know, and it's someone that I haven't brought up until now. And this character, the main antagonist of the last story of the Iron Man Season 7, is Ultron. Ultron would serve as the main antagonist, serving as the brainchild of Tony Stark and even Hank Pym, maybe as a guest character, maybe appearing in 1 or 2 episodes. I would have Hank Pym appear as someone that would work with Tony on Ultron, but they would just be an AI, wouldn't be anything grander than that. But then, like, by the time Arno and Morgan become heroes, that is when Ultron is taking over the world. And so now it's up to Tony and all the heroes of Team Iron Man to work together to try to stop Ultron before he gets into that evil place, but he just gets to that evil place quicker. And that's sort of Iron Man Season 7. And then we move on to the Supergirl Season 6 analog, which is SpiderGwen Season 6. And this is the final season of SpiderGwen. And the returning characters we have are Gwen Stacy, Spider-Woman, Glory Grant, Felicia Hardy, Kitty Pryde, Shadowcat, Anya Corazon, Aranya, Hobie Brown, The Hornet, number 2, Kenny McFarlane, Carolyn Traynor, who is still in that Urkrata position that she's at, George Stacy, and the main antagonist of the show, because in Season 6, it was an 5th dimensional being, sort of like Mixopidalic, but not, I think her name, I have it pulled up, was Nixley, and that's sort of who the main antagonist was. And for this one, I wanted someone who was sort of a multi-dimensional being as well to be the main antagonist, but not the way you would think. So the multi-dimensional main antagonist for this show is Morlun. I wanted Morlun to be the main antagonist of this season because I wanted to go ahead and get Morlun out of the way. I didn't want him to deal with Spider-Man. I wanted SpiderGwen to handle it. And so Morlun is sort of serving as this multi-dimensional being, this interdimensional being that's trying to take out the different spiders throughout the universe. And because SpiderGwen is now sort of in the main universe, that idea of the multiversal Spider-Man, Spider People, is sort of gone for the moment, or at least to Morlun. The multiverse still exists, but to Morlun, he can't find any more. And so now he's going after Spider-Woman specifically. And at first when they meet, he sort of treats her like an equal and doesn't treat, not really antagonistic towards her. It's not until like the mid-season way that we get the, oh, Morlun's a bad guy. And they're about to, yep, they're fighting now. And then we get to the big thing of Spider-Woman and her team defeating Morlun with the help of some friends. But then we get into the recurring cast because Wilson Fisk, aka Kingpin, still serves as a antagonistic threat, someone that would work with Morlun in this idea as well. But another character that I would introduce, because sort of Earth 65 and the main Earth 616 got pushed together, and a little Earth 1610 got meshed together with all the main Earths because of Secret Wars, Matt Murdock is a major character, but not as an antagonist this time. No. This time he is serving as a supporting protagonist instead. Supporting protagonist, in that this version that we're seeing is Daredevil. This time, like, Matt Murdock is able to establish with Gwen that though he has the memories of though he has, like, sporadic memories of all the other versions of Matt Murdock, especially the villainous version that she fought with, that's not him. And though Spider-Woman is a little hesitant to trust him because she just knows evil Matt Murdock, at the end of the show, he is able to prove himself to her as a valuable ally. And Daredevil and Team Spider-Gwen are able to beat Morlun and Kingpin. And then we get Arthur Stacy, the brother of George Stacy, who is able to help with the being a good guy portion, and also a character that we would see mainly through a lot of hallucinations due to Spider-Gwen being through this interdimensional rift and seeing through the sort of the multiverse and sort of through her history. Helen Stacy is the daughter, or is the mom of Gwen Stacy, and in the comics she's mainly seen as a figure that has died already, and so in this, we see Gwen Stacy being able to see her mom through these hallucinations, through these moments where Helen is very much saying, well, I'm proud of you. I am indeed proud of you. And that's another thing that helps Gwen become the hero that she needs to be. And that would be the end of season 6 with the defeat of Morlun. Kenny McFarlane would unfortunately pass away because his character, William Day, that I'm inspiring him off of, did die as well in season 6. So this is sort of what we're getting with SpiderGwen season 6. And that is the end of SpiderGwen season 6. But now it's time to move on to the Legends of Tomorrow season 6 analog, which is Exiles season 6. And some of the characters that we're seeing this season are Blink, Claire Ferguson, Blink of Earth 295, Kevin Sidney, aka Morph of Earth 1081, Amara Akia from aka Magma of Earth 6706, Clea of Earth 41101, Tabitha Smith, aka Boom Boom of Earth 11052, gets promoted from recurring to main cast. Another person that's getting promoted from recurring to main cast is Ileana Rasputina, aka Magic of Earth 4210, a character who is being introduced this season who is sort of serving as the Esperanza Spooner Cruise analog is Lorna Dane, aka Polaris of Earth 8149. The Magnus AI continues to be a part of our team. Heather Hudson, aka Sasquatch of Earth 3470, is returning as a main cast member. And then the next two characters I'm about to mention would leave after this season. The first one being Victor Creed, aka Sabretooth of Earth 295. He would leave after this season, wanting to finally go home and live his life with Mystique and his son, who he was never around to be with. He wants to be with that family, and though he knows that him and Mystique will never truly be a real couple because he knows Mystique's heart belongs to someone else, they both have an understanding of, hey, we're gonna be working together, we're gonna be with each other, but not like with each other. We're both gonna have our son with us. So that's very much what that story is going to be at the end of Exile season 6. And the other character leaving in this season is Stephen Strange, Doctor Strange of Earth 41101. And he is leaving because he believes, and Clea also believes, that Earth has been without the Sorcerer Supreme for a long time, and that with everything that he's learned through these adventures with the Exiles and with what he's learned throughout the years, that it's time for him to go back and be the Sorcerer Supreme of Earth 41101. And he agrees, and he decides to leave and be the hero that he needs and he was destined to be. And so some of the recurring cast members, there's only 2 recurring cast members that I have written down. Raven Darkholme, aka Mystique of Earth 295, she is someone that would be a recurring cast member, hence why the entire thing with Sabretooth. And then the main antagonist, because in The Legends of Tomorrow season 6, it is a character known as Bishop. He is a part of a group that, well, he isn't part of a group, but a alien group kidnapped Sarah Lance, and then she died, and then she came back to life with the ability to regenerate. And she was kidnapped, and so like the leader of that group was sort of Bishop. I want to say, I'm not 100% sure if that's correct, but I know Bishop is sort of the main antagonist, creating these clones and evil, all that stuff. So instead of doing all that, a lot of the craziness of it, I've decided to simplify it a little bit with having an alien-esque organization from a different dimension, specifically the dimension known as the Negative Zone. So my main antagonist and another recurring member of the cast is Annihilus. He would be the main antagonist of this season. If you probably saw in the poster that I have right here, Annihilus being there. And so he is serving as the main antagonist of this season. And it would be about the Exiles trying to defeat Annihilus and try to save the multiverse before anything can go too crazy with it. And Annihilus is just trying to take over the multiverse, while if he has to replace members of the Exiles with clones that he would create, he will gladly do it. And yeah, that sort of Season 6 of The Exiles. And then we move on to the Black Lightning Season 4 analog, which is Night Thrasher Season 4. And the main cast would be Dwayne Taylor, Night Thrasher, Janelle Chord, Silhouette, Danielle Taylor, Bandit, Aaron Chord, Midnight's Fire, Billy Russo, Jigsaw, Andrew Chord, all returning cast members. And then the newer cast members, who would sort of be like characters that were in last season but now are put in the main cast, are Robert Baldwin, aka Speedball, and Nimrita Prentice, who would be characters. Nimrita would mainly continue her relationship with Bandit, and Speedball would sort of serve as a character that would be helping them out dealing with their Jigsaw problems, because Jigsaw is the main antagonist, again returning fully as the main antagonist. And also from the recurring cast member of Donald Clendon, aka Cardinal. Cardinal is trying to do things on his own, but Jigsaw, since he came back, he's like, no, we're gonna go back to the way things were. And it's mainly just Jigsaw trying to bring all the pieces back together, trying to put his own jigsaw puzzle of his crime family back together, even though like they've been so separated due to the crisis with the other superhumans, the entire thing of the well of all things, like all these things that have separated his crime family and his entire criminal empire. He's trying to bring it all back. And Night Thrasher, Silhouette, and Bandit, Speedball, and Nimrita all working together to very much try to keep it apart. And Midnight's Fire fully sort of going into his evil side, working with Jigsaw. And so there'd be a fight scene between Silhouette and Midnight's Fire, since it's the brother and sister. There'd be a fight scene between them trying to stop each other. Bandit would mainly fight Cardinal, and Night Thrasher and Jigsaw would have a final fight where Jigsaw would ultimately be defeated and ultimately die, because that's what happened to Tobias Well. Tobias Well died, and so Jigsaw would die, but Night Thrasher wouldn't have done it on purpose. Midnight's Fire would get away, and Cardinal would get thrown in jail. And yeah, that would be how Night Thrasher Season 4 would end. Night Thrasher would beat Jigsaw, and that would be the neighborhood saved, and Night Thrasher would consider continuing on as a hero, or he would consider putting together a full team, maybe calling themselves the Warriors or the New Warriors, something like that. But yeah, that is Night Thrasher Season 4. And now we move on to Batwoman Season 2 analog, which is Wolverine Season 2. And instead of doing what the TV show did, because they had to recast Batwoman, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to worry about that sort of thing right now. I'm going to have Laura Kinney, X-23, continue to be Wolverine. And of the continuing main cast members, Gabby Kinney, Scout, continues to be a major main cast member. Tatiana Caban, aka Katiana, is still a major character. Deborah Kinney, Jubilation Lee, continue to be main characters. And Akihiro, aka Dakin, he is still sort of the character that's like, Laura, you really shouldn't be doing this. You really shouldn't be calling yourself Wolverine. But I'm not going to fully stop you because it's not up to me, but I still don't agree. And so now for some of the supporting cast members, we have Bobby Soul returning as sort of the main person helping with the heroes, being the main person helping Laura. And then we get into one of our major antagonists, Bonebreaker of the Reavers. And if that doesn't give you anything spicy to know about, the Reavers are sort of the main antagonist, with one of the leaders being Yuriko Urayama, aka Lady Deathstrike. She is the leader of the Reavers, similar to the 1990s X-Men cartoon show where she's the leader of the Reavers. And so she's sort of working on one half of the Reavers. And then some supporting characters are Kaiden Nixon and Bologna. Bologna is another clone of Laura Kinney, but this time she's someone that is a supporting character. In the comics, I believe she was more antagonistic towards Laura, but this time I'm having her be more of a protagonist character towards Laura. And the other sort of main antagonist of this season, like the Black Mask analog, is Cameron Hodge, who is also serving as the leader of the Purifiers. And the Purifiers and the Reavers are very much working together. other people who work for the Purifiers and Reavers are the Leper Queen and Donald Pierce. Donald Pierce is someone that is very much sort of serving as the second in command to Cameron Hodge, and Lady Deathstrike and Cameron are very much working together as sort of the main antagonist. And another supporting character, another supporting protagonist is Ruth Aldine Blindfold. And the story is very much Lara very much trying to stop the Reavers and the Purifiers from purifying all of the mutants near her, mainly a lot of her friends. And yeah, that's the story. And Lara with Scout, Katiana, Jubilee, and Dakin, and Blindfold actually work together to stop the bad guys. And the bad guys are defeated. Lady Deathstrike. Cameron Hodge is more of the one that really gets the short end of the stick, but Lady Deathstrike, after being defeated, like, Lara is looking at her like, hey, are we done? You gonna go away now? And Lady Deathstrike's like, you are a lot like your father. Fine. And Lady Deathstrike just leaves. Because I wanted Lady Deathstrike and Lara to have sort of a relationship that sort of you can see is like, oh, Lady Deathstrike is looking at Lara and is only seeing Logan in her. And Lady Deathstrike is just angry the entire time. But then they get a mutual respect for each other after Lara is able to beat all the Reavers and all the Purifiers. And Lady Deathstrike, instead of just getting killed or anything like that, she just goes away. She just disappears. Because again, I look at her very much as the Sophia Sohail character in season 2 of Batwoman, where she deals with Alice mainly and has a major part in it, but she's not sort of working on the direct side of Black Mask. Though I'm changing that a little bit for this one, where they two work side by side a lot and have like a massive fight scene between Lara and Lady Deathstrike. I wanted to keep Lady Deathstrike alive for the future, just in case we ever get to that point, which will probably be when the shows are all off the air, where, oh, Logan has returned and Lady Deathstrike and him have a fight with each other. But yeah, that's Wolverine Season 2. And now we get to the final show that I'm going to be talking about in this video, which is the analog for Superman and Lois Season 1, which, if you've been following very much, you all know what this is. The posters are already up there. It is Spider-Man and MJ Season 1. And the main cast members would consist of Peter Parker, Spider-Man, Mary Jane Watson Parker, the two major teenage characters that you see in the poster that are about to get trained into Spider People, Miles Morales and Mayday Parker, Flash Thompson, Jean Thompson, Jeff Morales is a major character that is on the side of Miles, Philip Watson, who I'm looking at the General Sam Lane character, even though he will be less nice towards Peter and Mary Jane, and Liz Allen Thompson. Now, I specifically skipped over a name in this main cast because that person would be the main antagonist, the Morgan Edge character, and that person is Dr. Otto Octavius, Dr. Octopus, which in this entire time I would have it to where Doc Ock is saying that he is reformed, and he is saying that he is not as evil as people say he is anymore. But then the big reveal is like, no, he's actually a horrible human being. And then trying to get into that Eradicator space where Morgan Edge gets taken over by a different thing and becomes the Eradicator, someone that has a hand-to-hand fight with Superman. I would have Dr. Otto Octavius put his mind into the body of something that we wouldn't get revealed as a clone until a later season, but it's basically a clone of Peter, and he would call himself the Superior Octopus, and that's when we'd get the Superior Spider-Man and the Superior Doc Ock in it. And it would just be a closer battle because they're both of the same age and same body type, and that would be the story. And some recurring characters, majority of the names I'm about to say are mainly through the high school part, which are Felicity Thompson, who would serve as the younger sister to Jean Thompson. Jean would mainly be a love interest to Mayday Parker. Miles would very much be away from the dating scene. But other characters would be Brenda Drago, David Jarrett, Cassie Lang, who I would probably serve as a close friend to Mayday, Charlotte Witter, again, another high school character, but then some characters that would be allies to the grown-ups, mainly Carly Cooper, who would be mainly friends with Mary Jane, and someone that Peter would only see in dreams or hallucinations whenever we would need them, mainly dreams, would be Uncle Ben Parker. We would get Uncle Ben in this story of seeing him in the dreams and sort of helping Peter make the right course. And the entire story is Doc Ock just trying to, I feel like just giving him the power of the sun in the palm of my hand storyline, but I don't want to, but like trying to create this device that will help him very much. And Peter's trying to stop him because it is a very dangerous device. And yeah, that would be the story, and Doc Ock would be in the superior Doc Ock body, which is basically Peter's body, just in a different suit. And Peter would have to fight him. And yeah, that's Spider-Man and MJ Season 1. And that is this part of the What If the Arrowverse was Marvel. I know the Superman and Lois show isn't really Arrowverse anymore. It very much was Season 1. And I'm going to continue with it mainly because that is sort of the last main remnant of anything that could be connected to the Arrowverse. And I wanted to keep Superman and Lois, and I wanted to talk about what I would do with Superman and Lois. And that's not to say, because it started on the CW. Constantine, I know a lot of people, I mentioned very much at the beginning I wasn't going to do a thing with Constantine, and that was mainly because it was started on NBC. And I know if I were to make that, you could make that argument with Supergirl being started on CBS, but Supergirl was ultimately brought into the Arrowverse as a major thing, and it also was on CW. Constantine was never on CW proper, but that's why Constantine, I never talked about him. But I'm talking about Superman and Lois, because Superman and Lois is on the CW. But with all that being said, what were your thoughts on the ideas? Did you like them? Did you hate them? Were you indifferent to them? Whatever your thoughts are, post them in the comments down below. There are only 2 episodes left. There's part 9, where I'm going to be talking about Flash Season 8, Legend of Tomorrow Season 7, Batwoman Season 3, and Superman and Lois Season 2. And then there's the final video, which is just going to be Flash Season 9 and Superman and Lois Season 3. So we're really at the tail end of the Arrowverse, and it's a little sad getting this close to the end. But whatever your thoughts are, again, post them in the comments down below. And also, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. That way you can be up to date with all the videos I have here on the channel. Also, hit the notification bell. That way you can be notified whenever a new video like this comes your way. But until next time, I've been MrEliMac, you've been the audience, and I hope you all have a great rest of the day.